I'm Brian Skipworth, and I'm one of the co-founders of Tesloop. Been working on it along with my other co-founders since day one, and we're about 7 months in now, and we've been operating between LA and Vegas for 5.5 months. I'll pass it over to Rahul for his intro.
Hi,
Yeah. Slightly under the weather.
Yeah, I'm Rahuls Intro, and I'm one of the co-founders of Tesloop. And so Hayden is my son, and when he turned 16, he wanted a car for his summer, that he could drive for the first time. And I suggested to him that if he wanted a car, he needed to get a job. And so the idea of driving people to Vegas and back was his idea, and he knew that there was a 3-month guarantee, happiness guarantee. So he suggested we lease a Tesla for 3 months. He would drive people back and forth, make enough money to pay the lease, and then we would, he would have enough to have the car. And then from there, we took over and said, hey, this is better as a real business. So Brian and I were working on another company, and we decided to full-time do Tesloop.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good example of, someone coming up with an idea who, if they were already indoctrinated into, typical business mindset, would never have thought of this idea. It kind of came from the, outsider's perspective of a 16-year-old, and sometimes that's what it takes to come up with a great idea.
Wow, it's pretty impressive. So what I understand is that Hayden cannot have the Tesla for himself because it's now busy every day. So he lost his Tesla. So
and in fact, he was never able to work as a driver over the summer. We were able to, bring him around to a bunch of conferences and things in the summer, but with our commercial insurance for drivers, all the drivers have to be 25 years or older. Yeah. So while he didn't get the job he wanted, he actually got, a co-founding position in an exciting startup, and I think, something much, much bigger than he ever could have anticipated.
Yeah, but he's going to get older, and he's going to be able to participate in the growth of the business, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
he's been doing a lot of the outreach and media, so he's been functioning more in the capacity of, of reaching people and spreading the message, and he has that edge of being a 16-year-old, and people are really curious about, what does a 16-year-old have to say about all this?
Here's my other question. Of course, expansion plans. Right now you're doing LA, Las Vegas, so since 5 months. So what's the next steps? Let's say, for the next 1 or 2 years, what's your plan? I'm pretty sure you already have a Model X on order, maybe?
Do you want to field that one?
Sure. We think this business is ideal for the Model X, like really when you're conveying a lot of people, having the ability to have 6 people in the car, which is how we would configure the Model X, is what we really think makes this work extremely well. For us, since there's that $5,000 reservation fee, we're holding off. We're hoping to make reservations pretty quickly for a large number of Model X's that we expect we can get, hopefully, around August time frame, though of course it's unclear exactly when they'll come.
90 days, I guess?
I think much more than 90 now. I'm guessing it's like 6 months at least, because maybe 5,000 per month once they ramp up production, and they haven't yet done that.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be the.
You mean the 90 kilowatt hour?
90D,
Yeah.
version.
Right.
For sure.
Model.
Yeah.
I think you said 90 days. Yeah.
So they're not producing it right now. Oh, a nice Tesla there.
Yeah, you do see a lot of Model S's around Vegas, and just yesterday I saw a Model X in the stall next to me at the downtown supercharger. So someone in Vegas or someone visiting Vegas just recently took delivery of their Model X, so that's exciting.
Was it a Founders or a Signature?
It was a Signature, I believe.
Okay.
You know, we haven't spent a whole lot of time with the Tesla's configurator tool for the Model X, mainly because we just don't want to get too excited about it and then have to wait another 6 months before we actually get to put them into service, you know.
So what I understand is that, what I understand is that you're waiting for the Model X to take your expansion.
Well, we will expand to a few more California cities, definitely on the Model S alone. We plan to be opening service to Palm Springs within a couple months, and we can do that entirely with Model S's, partly because the relatively short distance from LA to Palm Springs means that we can do a number of runs in a day, where, you know, with Vegas it's a long enough distance that it's pretty much that, you know, we can do a single round trip, maybe a third leg to the trip, and that's it. You really can't do more. Where with Palm Springs we can run back and forth all day long, and we can really be sure to be a more cost-effective option than flights to Palm Springs. And we think that that means we'll be able to scale it much more quickly and benefit from, you know, the economies of scale that come with just doing a lot of runs, even if all those runs are in Model S's.
What are the regulations, hurdles that you get in the area? In Quebec, I can tell you that if I would, I would be very interested in doing like Montreal, Quebec, and Montreal, Toronto. But in Quebec, it's, the rules are very stiff. And if you're doing, commercial transportation illegally, they can seize the car and stuff. So how is it in California and in Nevada and, and what's your view of that? I'm pretty sure you're looking at every state regulation and you're looking at the best place where it's going to be, less hurdle or less fees or whatever, so you have a better return on investment or whatever.
Yeah, so sorry, let me just, I'll go right here and then we can talk. Yeah, so the interesting thing about this is that in the United States, if you're traveling across state, like from California to Nevada, there's almost no regulation. But if you're traveling within a state, like from Los Angeles to Palm Springs, then you're subject to the state regulation. And like you said, every state can have different regulation. So you need to get what's called a TCP permit in California, and we're applying for that. And once we get that, we can start our Palm Springs routes. So, and as you said, that state by state is going to be, in every state, we have to figure out what the permits are. They tend to be, attainable, but they take some money and some time, and they don't tell you how long it'll be. So it's going to be a bit of a process to get all the permits. However, states like California are big enough that we think for the next definitely 6 months, maybe even a year, they can support a lot of growth. And then we think other states like Texas have amazing just setup of cities that are nearby each other. So that's a great state, like Arizona, Tucson, Phoenix, Seattle to Portland. These are really interesting routes for us.
Great. The option of having our concierge, we call them, come on video chat at any time throughout the trip, and particularly, as Rahul mentioned, the critical time is right after they've been picked up while the pilot is busy getting onto the freeway, we have our concierge come on and tell them all about Tesloop and our guidelines for how we want people to interact when they're in the car, and the things that we think make a great trip on Tesloop.
Wow.
And then also, in the rare scenario that, we suspect that a pilot may be getting sleepy, they can come on and say, hey, how's everything going? And,
They can talk to you.
Yeah.
So we think that, in 2 years, when the cars can really drive as well as humans, at that point, doing an overnight is fine, because if somebody does fall asleep, it's probably no more dangerous.
Yeah, the best security is that the car drives.
Yeah, so we think, as we move forward this year, the autopilot will be good enough to do overnights with our club pilot people, with kind of sleep detection systems in place.
When do you expect your mobile app to be ready for the clients?
So we just our iPhone developer just started yesterday. So we're thinking, within probably 2 months we'll have a version out of the of the mobile app.
So we have a range of healthy snack options that we find people really appreciate, because it's often very hard to plan ahead for your trip and bring along, healthy organic snacks, and you end up grabbing something at a gas station that's very high in fat and sodium and all of that. And of course, we've partnered up with companies that can provide beverages that also fit into that profile, like Zenify and Temple Juice. And one of the most popular beverages always is coconut water. People are just so blown away that beyond just your standard water and coffee, we will actually give them an option.
I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, please do. People love it.
Wow. And people really, it's complimentary. Do they have to pay, or it's offered in the trip?
It's all complimentary.
Wow.
So yeah, we've accounted for providing all of this as a part of people's basic fare on Tesloop. So you get all this, and in the car we provide travel pillows and noise-canceling headphones, and basically everything that we could think of that would make our own travel more comfortable, more productive, more pleasant. And we kind of figured out all the ways in which flying or renting a car or driving our own car were non-ideal, and we made sure that we'd, made an effort to provide for those things when you're on Tesloop.
And how can you explain to us the people reaction? What are they telling you? What comments are you getting from them? And also explain the time advantage you told me earlier about, the traffic, if we compare with the plane and stuff, and the customer experience. Tell us more about how the experience of traveling with your service and a 100% electric car, and a Tesla, of course, with executive seats, which is quite it's going to be a collectible car. So tell me more about that.
Sure. Well, as I mentioned, I think a lot of people are not quite sure what to expect, because for a lot of them, this is actually their first time riding in a Tesla. Some of them are very curious about just checking out the vehicle in general. And so we're kind of benefiting from a lot of what Tesla has done as far as creating a vehicle that's very comfortable. We have the executive back seats, the next generation seating. But as far as the overall experience, a lot of people tell us that they just find this so much more pleasant than making their way to the airport, making their way through security, that even if from where they live it happens to take a little bit longer, they would much prefer this over taking the flight. Now, for a whole group of people, for a large portion of the northern Los Angeles County area in particular, it actually works out to be quicker than making their way as far south as LAX airport, getting on a flight and then flying to Vegas. There are other smaller airports scattered throughout the, outside of LA County area, but a lot of those lack direct flights or lack convenient times for people to go. And so in all of those ways, we can provide something that's more convenient for them to travel. And then once they get in the vehicle, they find that it's a much more pleasant, comfortable, supportive environment to be in than being at the airport, being on the plane, being in a taxi, all of those things to get to their destination.
Yeah, so we also offer a variety of pillows, some for your back, some for your neck, some for sleeping. And if you want to do laptop computing, you can do it on here. There's phone charging, so very quickly you can get your phone up to speed. And we find a lot of people work, a lot of people sleep, so that's a common activity in Tesloop.